YBA Phoenix Fitness 24/7 basketball facility in Rockland, California. It's Bout That Life podcast with your host, Coach C. Collins and Coach MJ.
Get it started. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Hey, I'm Coach C. Collins.
Coach MJ, GGT.
And welcome to About That Life podcast, where we talk about basketball, AAU life, and everything in between. We know we've been gone for a while. We appreciate those who've still been listening, because I've been looking at the Podbean. I've been looking at guys and girls out there still supporting, parents coming, talking to me. Mark, anybody probably say the same to you?
Yeah, I got everybody. In my area, a lot of people keep asking me about the show, so that's pretty dope.
Yeah, so we appreciate the support, man. We know we've been gone for a minute. Quite honestly, schedules just suck right now. Yeah. It just really is, between work, kids. Mark's got a life. I got a life. Mark just cut his hair, which,
new beginnings.
congratulations, bro.
Thank you.
But no, it's just been real busy. Last episode 20 with Dwayne went really well. Mm-hmm. Got a lot of positive feedback from that. It even kind of, I think, want to say, help circle back and encourage our current guests, which I will get to in a sec. But again, one small click for you is a big help to us. So please hit that subscribe, hit that follow button. If you're following us on, the audio stuff like Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, all of it helps. We really do appreciate it, because me, Ty, and Mark really try to work hard to make this happen for you guys and just give you a real perspective on AAU basketball and the grassroots moving up. So for today's guest, this is going to be cool, pretty interesting. She has a very cool perspective on the game, not only just the game itself, but I want to say she has a very interesting side of it, not being just an AAU mother, but having two relatives that played professionally. Does your other brother, is he still currently playing, or is he retired too?
No, he's retired. Okay,
so having two ex-pro athletes in the family, and being a girl and the middle child, right? So, she's definitely got a unique perspective. But many of you might know her brother, which is Matt Barnes, but our guest is Miss Danielle Barnes. So thank you for being on the show. We appreciate that.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Long overdue.
No problem. She's also, outside of, being pro athlete relative, she works in real estate, and she's pretty much the AAU director and founder. I mean, you're pretty much the founder of Matt Barnes Elite. You're the founder.
I recruited.
Yeah, exactly. So she's in the AAU world. She's not just related to it. She's actually out there working hard in it. So I just wanted to give you guys a brief synopsis on who she is. So when me and you talked, you said you watched a lot of basketball, like you said, from Salvation Army when you were younger. You said like 8 to 14.
I grew up at Salvation Army on the wooden benches from the time school got out until probably 9 at night.
Okay.
5 days a week. Just watching training, pickup games, whatever. It was almost like daycare.
Okay. Wow. So you were a hardwood princess.
All my life.
All right, makes sense. And then obviously you watched the path of your brothers, correct?
Yes.
And I think it was safe to say that they put in a lot of work to get where they were at, correct?
Unbelievable amount of work, yes. Not forced, though. It was all self-driven work. So, yep. And I was drawn to it. I could have went to a friend's house. I could have stayed home. I've always been drawn to the process. So,
no, that's good.
Yeah.
And then the biggest thing, when you were texting me and stuff like that, you got a chance to obviously go to a lot of NBA games and watch the highest level, correct?
All of them.
All of them?
I mean, I didn't miss. If it was on the West Coast, I was at it every single game, middle of the week. Didn't matter. I didn't miss a game. And then,
Good. No, that's good. And then when your brother was with the Warriors, were you at a lot of those games too?
All of them.
Yeah, because I was going to say, during that time, obviously the Warriors were doing pretty damn good. Yes. And I'm a Warriors fan, so, I got to.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
That Oracle Arena, that is, if you didn't get to experience it, you kind of missed out on an era. It was, you had to be there.
Yeah. No, and I get it. So, and I was lucky enough to be there a few times myself. So, you know, Bay Area stand up, man. I'm an Oakland kid through and through. So it's really fun to watching our lifetime. The Warriors didn't suck, because I'll be honest with you, for about 30 years of my life, the Warriors was struggling. So from your perspective, obviously having a relative who's a part of that, that's got to be really cool.
That was crazy.
How was it, the experience when Matt came to the Kings? Because I know that's where you guys are from, and he played with. How was that when he came back home?
Home has always been, I don't know, I feel like the Bay treated him better than home treated him.
Okay.
And he felt that too.
Yeah.
There's definitely love up here,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, your supporters don't always support you to see you through it. They kind of support you and hope that you fail sometimes. And I feel like Sack was on his neck all the time. And the Bay just open arms embraced him, and it became, I mean, we're from the Bay. We were born in the Bay, so that felt, still to this day, still feels more like home when I'm there than Roseville.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
I can understand that. And then, well, outside of that, I mean, just so people, just so our listeners, right, for who don't know you, where'd you go to high school in Sacramento?
Fair Oaks. I went to Del Campo High School in Fair Oaks.
Okay. Like 2 years, or?
No, it's where it's located. Fair Oaks.
Oh, Fair Oaks. Oh, okay. I'm
like
tripping.
Okay.
City.
Yeah,
I know where Del
Campo.
Campo. Yeah, no,
okay.
I
So
know what you're saying.
Del Campo. No, all 4 years. Del Campo almost pulled out my freshman year. We had like a really rough spot my freshman year, Matt's senior year, but stuck it out.
Okay, good. Well, like I said, home, you know, a little bit of a Bay Area and Sacramento hometown kid. I can understand that. So, well, without further ado, let's give you a round of applause. It's from our audience. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. So let's get right to it. So, what's been your overall experience with AAU? And, you know, like the good points, the bad points, you know, what AAU does as a whole. Just want to get your perspective.
That's a really broad question. So I grew up watching AAU, a different kind of AAU. So everyone didn't make the team when I grew up.
Same here.
And that's AAU to me, and I will never look at it in a different way. You had to earn a spot on an AAU team when I grew up, and they were the elite of everyone in the area. So that's what I base AAU on. Now, as a mother of 4 boys and bringing AAU to my family, I struggle because that all-inclusive definitely exists, and I'm a non-believer of it. I don't feel that. So if you're going to be on the bench the whole time, I don't think you should be on the team. You know, just because your parents want you to play and there's a spot and you pay your dues, I don't think you should play. But that's just me. I understand how programs work. I know that our feeder teams feed our big boys, so I think it's a different story for the younger boys. I think we need that. And I think you earn your spot as you grow. I believe AAU is strictly for our high school boys. I think it's a catalyst for a scholarship. I think loyalty is huge. You can't be on one team one year and bounce and be our competitor the next year. Like, I want you to commit, and I want you to make it work with who's on your team, and I want everybody to feed off of it. So that's been my struggle.
Yeah.
My struggle has been teaching these boys loyalty. The grass ain't always greener, and not everybody deserves a spot.
There's no loyalty in AAU anymore. There just isn't. It's unfortunate, but
It is, and I think it's what we teach our kids. So my son, he's wanted to bounce before. You know, it hasn't always been beautiful with Matt Barnes Elite. Like, with it on my shoulders as a single mother, like, it's a lot. And if I don't feel like doing it, or I don't have the energy to do it, then, you know, things start to stray and go offline. And sometimes another organization that has been around looks a little better. Like, hey, that might be easy. Like, if I just let this go and hop on with someone else, I can help. I don't know if I want to do this. So my view on it is loyalty. So I shut it down. I'm like, if this isn't going how I want it to go, I don't want it to go at all. So I shut it down 2 years ago. It wasn't going the direction I wanted it. Guys were hopping on and hopping off the team, yelling at the refs. I think that's for the parents to do, even though we shouldn't. But I don't want my boys on the court yelling at refs. I don't want them pouting on the bench. I don't want them walking on the court. I just have such high expectations, and I feel like I kind of lost control, so I pulled the plug. Didn't want our name out there on the court looking a mess. So we've been out of it for about 2 years, just playing locally, no travel, no rules, no practice, just getting the boys out of quarantine is what I would call our current Matt Barnes Elite. Like, if you see us out on the court right now, it's literally passing time, you know, checking our temperature, seeing what's going on, giving the boys an opportunity to play.
Do you think you want to get back to kind of the structure of it, the meat and bones of it, and kind of, you know, give it a direction and things like that again? Or are you just kind of cool going in this, like? I
realize what it takes. It scares me. My hands are so full. I'm so busy with work, with kids, with life. I do want to, because I put so much into it already. And my son is a sophomore. And the whole reason I started this 6 years ago was for him to thrive and to get him out there. And we were doing really good. I mean, we were young, but we were solid. Like, we had the best players. You see the good players that are floating around SAC in the Bay right now, like, they played for us. Nice. So I would like to reorganize and get going this summer and see how it goes. Okay. They're teenagers now, so I need to see where their minds are at. So absolutely. I think we'll give this a soft run this summer. Okay. I'll get all my paperwork, get all my things back, you know, behind the scenes put together, and give it a run this summer. And if all things start hitting, then yeah, we're gonna come back.
Nice. Sounds great. Well, so then that leads me to my next question, kind of, you know, navigating the AAU field as a parent. So kind of step away from the directorial side, right? As a mom, right? You know, you're doing a lot of this, like you just said, as a single mom, you know, taking care of the kids. You obviously have a teenage son, and we all know as our kids kind of get older, we kind of try to put more responsibility on them rather than, you know, us kind of forcing the issue and things like that. And then the biggest thing that you alluded to is your name, you know, the Barnes name, right? It actually has some level of notoriety in this area and outside of this area, you know what I mean, due to your brother's presence, and not even that, your own, because you kind of have a strong presence yourself. You know, as a mom, what would you say are the pros and cons that come with it? You know, and is there any advice you can give out there to mothers trying to figure this out for their sons?
Pros would be, I love watching my son play. I love to watch him play and do well and thrive and dominate. I love it. He loves it. Saying that in the same sentence, I'm also going to say we've reached a level of burnout, okay, which AAU goes all year now. That's also different. You know, that's hard. Yeah. That's hard on their body. He's already been injured. He's growing like crazy. Their bodies are wearing out as teenagers. So I was okay pulling the plug for so many reasons as a director, but as a mother, I'm seeing the pain at night, the exhaustion. As much as parents want to ignore the obvious, but the dedication takes away from schoolwork, takes away from being a kid. And watching my brother grow up, I've said this before, he didn't get to be a kid. So a lot of professional athletes actually missed out on their childhood because the training, the traveling, the school ball, the room for burnout is there.
Yeah.
So as a mother, I don't want my son to burn out. Like, his love for the game that he grew up in the Warrior stands. He was 2 in '07. So he grew up watching NBA levels. So that's what he thinks is normal. And he thinks, getting to the NBA is normal. And like, you do this, and this, and you're in the NBA. I'm like, oh, no, baby.
It's 400
No.
jobs.
No,
400
baby.
and something
I'm
jobs.
like,
It's tough. It's tough
no,
getting
baby.
there.
I said, no, that's not how it works. The chances are so slim. Like, to count on that is AAU is a catalyst for college.
Yes.
Period. AAU does not gauge NBA players, not NBA players. I'm sorry, but half the people that play AAU don't even go to college.
Yeah.
It's a pastime for them. And D1 college, they're on an AAU team, but they're not even going to make a D1. So as a parent, my focus with AAU is to love it and play hard and dedicate yourself to it, but not all year.
I like that.
Is that the biggest advice you would give to, like I said, because some of our listeners are, single moms just out there trying to figure out, what do I do with my son? Like,
Watch for the burnout, they're not machines. We treat them like machines, but they need to be a kid. They need to experience being a kid. They need to want it. So I got to a point where I was forcing it. Like, you have practice. I don't want to go. I don't care if you want to go or not. You got to go. Like, you committed to it. You need to go, or we're going to quit.
okay.
So that's mine. You're either all in or you're all out. But the all year thing didn't work for me. So I don't know if you remember with my program, but I shut it down for grade purposes from August through November. Nobody played. And that was my rule. None of my teams were allowed to play. Get back in school, get your flow, get your grades. Let me see your grades.
Right.
That's good.
And if you're messing up, then you're on the bench. And so that's where me and my coaches struggled, is that some of our prime athletes needed to be on the bench, and there's me being a mom. Like,
Right.
you can't be no dummy on the court. I'm sorry, but 2Ds, I don't care if you got a 2.0, you're a dummy. Sit your ass down. No, we're not applauding that. I don't care how good you are. You need to sit your ass down, and we're not taking that. So that was our pushback, is me as a mom versus director against my coaches and my players and my parents. But
Splash for all the moms that hold their kids accountable. That's a good thing. No, that's a great thing.
If you, who cares if you can ball if you're not passing your class? First of all, you're not eligible.
Exactly.
And what are we doing this for?
Absolutely
High
right.
school is your job right now. AAU is not your job. Like, high school is your job, and it's a catalyst into the next level. So it's all pointless if we're going to put you on the court and you're ineligible.
Yeah.
So as a mom, I'd say grades first, watch for burnout, give them a break, and if your son ain't into it, pull him.
Yeah.
If he's half-ass into it, hold him. Let him see, like, do I really want this? Do I miss it? Or am I good with chilling? Like, if you're good with chilling, then it's not for you, because it's expensive. Travel is expensive. Maintaining is expensive. All that shit adds up. And as a single mom, I'm not putting my money out if you're tired on the court. And hell no, we could have stayed our asses home. Like, you want to jog? You want to have an attitude? Like, I'm all the way out here. I ain't got time for that. So if you want to half-ass it, we could half-ass it in Sacramento at Hardwood Palace. We ain't half-assing it in Utah. So you either get with it or we can go home. So that's me as a mom. I'm very serious, very passionate about it. I feel like every second on the court is either full speed or not at all.
Nice. Well,
Yeah, you got me hyped. Hey, low key, I'm just listening. I'm about to use everything that she's telling me right now. For my kids,
your kids are young too, so when they get older.
Just like listening to you, like I said, because I know earlier, we'll get to the training part, because I am, like, he does the AAU thing. I'm the trainer. So just listening to you, and we'll get to, I know you had something to talk about the whole training thing, but listening to you, it's kind of like, it's like you're on point. Like, there's a blueprint. And listening to you, like you got the blueprint about taking care of your body, you know what I'm saying, understanding the burnout, because I do have kids that I train, because I play professionally overseas, and of course not the NBA, that's a whole different grind, you know what I'm saying? And so the kids that I work with, some of the things, which is just like what you're saying right now, when I talk to the parents, when it comes to the individual training, is that yes, I don't want the kids that I work with, if you're forcing them to come here and they're not even going hard. And that's why I take a lot of time with the special kids that I have, who I don't got to say shit to them. Like, coach, you up 12 o'clock at night? I'm there. You know what I'm saying? Those kids, hey, coach, 5 o'clock in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, I'm there. And I do have the kids that, like you said, the attitude and everything like that. Of course, like, now that I'm doing the AAU thing, like what you're doing, of course, that's a whole different with the parents and then the kids now who do respect me. Now they're giving me kind of attitudes because I'm not playing them. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So that's how it works.
Yeah. So just listening to you, I'm just like, okay, I like that. And I know, of course, with your background and everything like that, like it's good to hear, to know that, like, yes, like it's no bullshit. Like it's 1% that make it. And that's what I preach, because there's a lot of coaches, which I respect, that yes, of course, you play to get your college degree, and there's more than life than just basketball, which is true. I'm different. I'm looking for the 1 or 2, 3 kids that are really serious, and that's how just everything that you're saying just kind of like resonates. I'm like, okay, I'm getting hyped over here. So I like that.
Okay.
So keep doing your thing.
I told
keep
you
doing
I
your
want to
thing.
coach. They ain't messing with me. They ain't hearing me, but I'm trying to get in these young boys' ears. I don't want the high schoolers, because I'm a little too sensitive for the talk back, and it's just mom mode will kick in.
Get your great group of 4th, 5th graders. They're always fun.
I want to grow them. Like, I want to teach court vision and things like that these high school boys are just like run and gun, and everyone thinks they're Steph Curry. That shit drives me crazy.
Hey,
I will sit your ass on the
blame
bench.
Steph Curry. What can I say, bro?
You said you are?
I know. I said blame Steph Curry, man. That's all I can say, man. That's all I say to everything. Blame Steph Curry.
That's his game. That's his game. It shouldn't be, rules to live by, because that man, his work ethic,
ridiculous.
He could do whatever he wants. That man works 24/7 on his game. Like, and he makes the shit. So that's the difference. Like, he's making it. He's working hard, and he knows that his shit's gonna go in. Like, the game time is not time to be everybody's at the 3-point line with their hand up. Like, one rebounder, pass me the ball. I will call timeout and cuss everybody on the court out. Like, that's not basketball to me. It's just not, you get too far behind and then you're playing catch up. There's just no basketball being played, and I can't stand to watch kids play that kind of basketball, because they're not there yet.
You're right.
They're just not there yet. Like, they have no vision of the game. They have no vision of what's going on the court. They don't realize that their teammates need help. They don't realize the importance of rebounds. Like, everybody's behind 3 with their hand up. Like, throw me the ball.
The game has changed, no doubt. I wanted to talk more about kind of you in terms of kind of getting your voice out there and your truth out there. I've known you a while, and I think some people that don't know you might have a perception of you. So I kind of wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about it and address it, so people can kind of get to know you, because I've overall had really great experiences with you. I think some people might perceive, because of your name, because of the stories, the notoriety, or maybe the brief, 2% they see you out cheering your son on at the Matt Barnes Elite game, they might get a misconception of you. So I just kind of wanted you to address that if you felt like it. If you didn't want to, you don't have to say nothing to it.
Oh, no, I'll address it for sure, because one thing about me is that people are for sure curious.
So here you go. Put it out there.
Yeah, I don't let people in very much. I'm for sure my son's biggest fan, and anybody that's watched me cheer knows that I care about all the kids on the court. Obviously, I wouldn't be doing all that I'm doing. I would just throw him on a team if I didn't. But my son is my priority, is what I do everything for. So our whole organization is based off of my son winning. I want everybody to win, but I particularly want my son to win.
As you
so not necessarily winning the game, but just winning at the game. You know, like I want him thriving. I want him learning. I want him taking in everything and benefiting from it. So this organization is for him to benefit, and anybody that wants to stick with the loyalty, stick with the grind, stick it out. I hope that these boys, we see them off into college and same school or not, compete against each other. Like that's my overall outlook. So when you see me cheering on these games, first of all, we were locked up in quarantine, so I'm not going to talk about anything quarantine or later, but prior to, I'm very passionate. I am so passionate. I'm so into the game. Like once the game has started, I am so into the game. And one thing that drives me crazy about the game is how into the game the refs think they need to be. So if I get some refs reffing this game and all that we notice are the refs and not the players and not the game, then you can see me out there cussing somebody out, because I will only take so much before I'm like, hey, come on now, you know you're tripping, like chill.
Right.
These refs like want to be seen. Like this has become like, I feel like reality TV out there.
I was going to talk about that too later in the show, because it's from the NBA now. Yeah, even the
like
NBA ref officials,
the
reffing, they talked about it, especially this year. I forgot the YouTuber I was looking, he did a great piece on it, but we'll elaborate more on that. But you're absolutely right. It's from the top down.
So usually my passion will stem from either we're up, we're doing good, we're flowing, everything's hitting, and I'm just so happy and I'm cheering, and you'll even catch me cheer for the other team, like a good move. He burn us, like I'm cheering for you too. Like I love to see it. Like I am just truly a fan of the game. Like I love the game. So you'll see me cheer both ways, but you damn sure gonna see me cheer for my son's team.
Absolutely.
And if the refs start pulling the game away and taking my attention off the game, like, oh, you're tripping, like I'm gonna tell him he's tripping. So a lot of people
that's a nice way of saying it, y'all. That's a nice way of saying it.
A lot of people have probably seen me check a ref or two or three, or another mama, because I'm reactive. I'm reactive. So if there was one word to describe me during a basketball game, it would be reactive. So I'm not an initiator. I'm a fan. But I'm very reactive. I'm very passionate. And some of these people be tripping.
You're right. It's a lot of entitlement. It's a lot of, you know.
Yeah, and so I'm really working. I promise you I'm working on it, but I have a hard time keeping my mouth shut. Like, I really have a hard time keeping my mouth shut. So I usually will just speak my piece, and that's what most people see, I think. But I've gotten a lot better.
Good.
I've gotten a lot better, and I don't think that's ever going to leave me, though.
It's all.
I mean,
we're all a work in progress. We're all a work in progress.
If you watch Matt play, and you know him in real life, you would know that, like, that's not him.
Yeah.
Like, because on the court, he's a straight asshole. Like, if I played against him, there'd be technicals flying. Like, he is a straight asshole, but it's a role. Like, you literally, when you love the game that much, like, you're so into it, like, this is what you need to do to win. Yeah. He's a role player, and I'm not a role player. I'm a mom. But at the same time, like, I'm very passionate about it. Like I said, you know, I want him serious. Like, he works hard. We put a lot of hours into this. We put a lot of money into this. And I'll be damned if somebody's going to tell me something about mine.
Right.
And director or not director, like, you're going to hear my response to that.
Okay.
So, outside looking in, I don't really care what people think.
There's nothing wrong with that. I just wanted you the opportunity to speak your piece.
Yeah, I don't really care what people think, and I don't think that I ever will.
I think you're in the right room then, because that's pretty much how we all are.
Yes, sir.
So circling back, like speaking about your upbringing with Matt and your family, you know, having a professional relative is something I think we both kind of can relate to. I made it overseas, but my younger brother made it to the NFL. My cousin made it to the NFL. So I've watched, kind of their careers and how it's, kind of trickled around me. But it is really just really cool being a courtside fan. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, I'm in the football area, but being in an arena, cheering your brother on, watching him play pro football, it's amazing. You know what I mean? Or watching your cousin play pro football, it's like, wow, this is really cool. So, you've been there to see the evolution. Not only when he just got to the NBA, but from the ground up, right? And obviously, what I want to say, even with your brother, he was able to find his niche and kind of transcend after the game. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because a lot of NBA players, they play, they're done. They either go broke or they burn out, or we hear these crazy horror stories about, like if you want to go to like Sebastian Telfair or, Lamar Odom, luckily your brother didn't fall in that trap and he kind of built his own platform and his own empire. What has that been like for you watching that transition? And then after you answer that, with your son, do you think any of that expectation is pushed upon him, even though he's obviously not your brother's kid, he's your kid, but do you think some of that affects him in any way, or does he feel like he has to live up to a name or something?
Oh, without a doubt.
Okay.
Without a doubt. I don't look to his game for Matt's game.
Yeah.
Not at all. Everyone's an individual, but I mean, we'll walk into Soldier Town or we'll walk into some of the camps or showcases, and I'm like, that's Matt Barnes' nephew.
Yeah.
What that got to do with, can I say that?
Yes, you can.
Well, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? Like,
So
it's
he's definitely, you definitely feel like, or
He's like
at least he's
labeled.
felt a target or labeled.
He's for sure
or whatever.
labeled.
Yeah.
He has expectations. I'll say the best comparison of the two of them is
They're light skinned.
they're light skinned, and my baby got green eyes. So, but they're mental players,
Right.
which is a blessing and a curse. It could kill your game. So if your mind isn't right and you're a mental player, you're your own enemy.
Yeah.
And Matt was his own enemy the first half of his career. And then there's the local trainer out here, Gus Armstead. Changed his shot, changed his perspective, changed his whole game. I mean, he worked with a lot of trainers, but he really trusted Gus, went to him every summer, and came back a shooter.
That's a name you hear a lot, for sure.
Yeah, he came back a shooter, a killer shooter. He became a starter. Matt never had a contract that was more than 2 years, so every summer he was unemployed. And people don't realize the average NBA career, even for the less than 1% that make it, once you make it, your average is 3 to 4 years, and you're done. Now what? You're 27, 26 years old, and your career that you worked your whole life for is done. So 14 years, every summer he didn't have a job.
My brother Josh experienced the same thing. He's always been a backup quarterback. So he's played on 13 NFL teams.
Yeah.
So
But he's always
keep
been a
making
journeyman.
You should keep making it.
Yeah, exactly.
You adjust.
Exactly.
And if you can't adjust, you're done. They don't need you. If you can't adjust, replacement is so easy. They got hundreds of thousands of people ready to take your spot.
Yes.
Younger, faster, stronger, without injury, ready to fill in. So, comparing Matt and Jaden, I would say their only similar characteristic, besides they run the same and look alike, is they're mental players.
Yeah.
So to tell a teenager that, like, you're a mental player, you need to get out of your head, I'm struggling with that. It's hard for him to get the right mindset. Like, when he's in it, you can't stop my son.
Nice.
When he's thinking about it, you can get into his head too easy. And if someone's in your head, you're out the game.
Yeah.
So if you're in your own head and then someone else gets in your head, you might as well sit down. You can't allow somebody to run your game. So he's a mental player.
So it's about just controlling your emotions.
Emotions.
Yeah.
I'm like, the court isn't time to practice or try something out. Like, that's what practice and training is for. Like, once you're on the court, you don't think about it. You just go. You got to be on auto. And the thinking is not for game time. So that's our current thing. But you know what, hearing your mom, I'm a mom. Like, regardless
You
of
don't know
how
what
I
you're
grew
talking about, your
up,
mom.
regardless of what I've seen, who I've seen play, what I know, like, I'm a mom. So for me to be like, son, you got to get out of your head. Like, you have a killer shot. Like, you have a crossover. You can overpower these kids. Like, no shit, you're better than most of the people on the court. Biased opinion? I don't think so. Like, when he's on, he's on. But getting him to that point, it's like, you gotta trust the process. So that's what we're working on.
So for me, like, for listeners, right, especially those, let's just say, random dad, random mom, got their 5th grader, they're like, man, my 5th grader really has a passion for the game. He says his dreams to play in the NBA, blah, blah, blah. You got to live and see the transition. What would you say to them? Would you say, like, you know, like, hey, be ready for your son or daughter to put a lot of hours in the gym. Be ready for them to invest a lot of time outside of, they're not going to go to proms. They're not going to hang out with the friends as much, right? Like, what is your overall vantage point to those listening?
I would say that's cute. That's cute. You don't know at that level. At that level, they love basketball. Let them play basketball. Don't start training them. Let them develop a little bit on their own. They shouldn't be waiting for a trainer. They shouldn't be waiting for the gym. They should be at the park shooting. They should be in the garage dribbling the ball. They should be initiating basketball by themselves.
Right.
If they're not initiating basketball by themselves, they're not going to make it to the NBA. And that's just my opinion. The love, it's a different kind of love. It's a different kind of dedication that I've seen. And then being around other NBA players, and you start to learn their bio and like how they grew up and what they did. They're a different breed. Like, a lot of kids love basketball. Tons of kids are good at basketball. A lot are really good at basketball, but there's like the elite few at the top that live and breathe basketball by choice, not because their parents can afford to get them a dribbling coach or get them a shooting coach or get them to the gym or have a membership for them, or they look the part. No, it's the kids that do it regardless.
Obsession. To me, that's like listening to you. Like, I feel like it has to be more than just, like you said, even though I am a trainer, you know what I'm saying, but like I tell my kids, there's 24 hours in a day. If you're with me 2 to 3 times, what are you doing with all those other hours? You know what I'm saying? And so when you find the kids who do the stuff without you, I'm just the guide, you know what I'm saying? So I see what you're saying. Like, you got to be crazy.
Well, and trainers, respect to trainers, you're sharpening tools. You're teaching them stuff that they don't know. They're kids.
Exactly.
They don't know. They're raw. So to get a raw kid or a kid with talent and to be able to sharpen their skills or like tone in on like what they're good at or correct where they need it, that's amazing. But I think training should be earned. Like, I know we're going to get to that, but I think it's definitely an earned, almost like a reward. Training should be a reward. Like, you know what? You're going hard. You're doing good. You get a trainer to like sharpen these skills and take you to the next level, not because we're home on Wednesdays and we can afford training and I think you should go, or I want you to be in the NBA. You want to be in the NBA and I want you to be in the NBA, so let me dump all this money into training and make you an NBA player.
Yeah. Well, so between being a mother and a real estate agent and a celebrity and everything else you got going on,
I saw that.
You hood famous. You hood famous.
Oh, okay, I'll take hood famous. Roseville
you hood
hood?
famous. Yeah, Roseville hood famous.
Roseville hood. Okay.
I'm Rockland hood famous. I'm Oakland hood famous. Like, I can live with that.
Okay.
I didn't say national famous. It's all right with being hood famous.
I'll be hood famous.
All right then.
Roseville.
See, so between being all that, is there any advice? And you kind of been doing it already, but before we move on to the next topics and everything, is there any advice you really want to offer out there to those aspiring young athletes, men, women, everyone, you know, like saying, hey, you know, if you want to play college, this is what it looks like. You want to play pro, this is what it looks like, because you actually got to witness it. You know what I mean? So is there any advice you can give out?
There's a lot.
Well, don't.
I would say the most important thing is being self-driven.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, for one is recognizing your worth. You know, gauging yourself. I'm talking to the players. Gauging yourself against the other players and seeing what their day looks like versus what their game looks like versus what your game looks like. I think you should constantly be evaluating yourself as a player to improve. And if you don't do that or you don't want to do that, go play rec ball. And for parents, if your kids aren't doing that by themselves, take them out. Like I pulled Jaden as a mom. I said, I'm done doing this shit. I'm spending thousands of dollars traveling. You ain't feeling it, I'm not feeling it either. I don't care if this is my organization, we ain't going. So we switched over to the soldiers because I pulled out. I said, I'm done with this.
I remember that.
They, you know, soldiers were eyeing my program. We were doing really well at the time. We were knocking off some of their teams, and they're like, you know, respect, like you guys got a good program going. I said, oh, why do you say that? Because I'm done. I've had enough. I'm done. They're like, oh, okay, really?
Yeah.
So they snatched my program somewhat willingly because I really threw my hands up. But they snatched my program and my boys from me for 1 year. And like I said in the beginning, the grass ain't always greener. You know, up and coming is hard, and you know, I wasn't ready. But look, we ain't playing, so they're not soldiers. Stock soldiers are still here, but my boys are waiting for us to come back. So my advice would be, if they don't want it, don't force it.
Nice. That's good. That's good advice. So what's your end game when Jaden graduates? Do you want to continue this organization if possible, or do you want to, because obviously a younger boy, so are you thinking of keeping it going for them?
I do. My next in line, he loves the game. The way Jaden loves the game, probably not.
Okay.
Jaden eats, sleep, dream basketball, right? So my next one, he loves the game. He likes to play. He likes to play with his friends. So AAU, like, I'm going to be honest. Just like you, as a mother, you know your kids are bad. You want to say your kids ain't bad, you're a liar, okay? Your kids are bad. So my next in line.
That's fine. Sorry, I had to get that out there. Just so y'all know.
Yeah.
They always hear from me and Mark, but sometimes it's nice to hear from a parent, like, hey, your kids suck sometimes.
Your kid. So he enjoys basketball. AAU basketball? No, he's not an AAU basketball player. He'd be happy playing rec ball every weekend, improving his skills, enjoying basketball, loving the game, traveling a little bit. AAU, not so much. He doesn't have that desire. But my next two in line, like, every child is different. So I think to be able to recognize that and not force him in it just because I have a program, I'm not a hypocrite.
Right.
So if I'm going to tell you, hey, you ain't got it, like your kid ain't got it, but I'm okay because my kid, he likes rec ball. He's good. He likes it, but he wants to hang out. Cool. Put him in rec ball. He's not an AAU player. My 2-year-old, I need to send you a video. This fool is dribbling.
Nice.
He's running with the ball, dribbling. He's shooting. Like, they're just different. They're like, they're born different. So I have 4 boys and I have 2 that are killers on the court.
Nice.
I have 2 that will be athletes.
Okay.
It'll probably be a catalyst to get a scholarship and be more into their education than they are into sports, which to me is really exciting because, again, even those that make it 3 years, but you might be a doctor, a lawyer, a sports agent.
Well, it's like what Ted said when he was on our show. You're getting a discount on your education. You're getting a discount on your education. And if basketball can get you a discount, you'll take it.
Run it.
Yeah.
Right?
You know what I mean?
So I'll use it as needed. All my boys are 5 years apart. So, like, there's a big gap, which gives me time to, like, get one in, run them through it, get them out, get them positioned. Then the next one's ready. You know, like no one's ever missing out on mom. But as my job, I will use the program to benefit my children. So if he wants to have fun and hoop with his homies and travel locally, I'll have a team for him to do that. And I'll have a competitive team at his level. So that's where the levels come in for the younger kids to me with the new age AAU.
Yeah.
How there's levels to it. There's always going to be teams for us to compete against. Absolutely. Because it's the new structure. So
competitive rec. That's what I call it anyway, or what I've alluded. There's rec ball and there's competitive rec, which is now AAU, right? And then of course there's the true AAU, which I would say is the elite top level. But you know, if you have a kid that, like you said, is kind of in between, you know, you put him in the competitive rec side and you see what happens. So so you don't have any girls?
I have a niece. I am the girl. I am the family girl. So
oh wow,
all nephews. I have one beautiful little niece. There's no girls.
Wow,
I ain't
that
having
is
no
crazy.
girls.
She is a boy maker. All right, fair enough.
I'll get granddaughters.
There you go.
Maybe sooner than I want them, but I will have granddaughters, and I'm okay waiting.
There you go. Well, hey, more power to you. You managing it all. So, moving on to our hot takes. We got to talk about current events. We got to talk about what's going on. Let's make it very clear. You have four, even though you can't see Todd behind the camera, you have four black people sitting in this room, and there is a lot of crazy shit going on in America right now. Now, you guys know I don't try to get super political, but I'm not going to sit here and ignore, like, life isn't happening around us, okay? We're dealing with a pandemic. We're dealing with the George Floyd trial. I don't know if you guys been watching it a little bit. I have for sure. I appreciate the officers who have crossed the blue line of silence, and they've been throwing this motherfucker under the bus. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I don't know if that's you doing it for sure. I don't care. At least you're doing it.
It's necessary.
Yeah, but the biggest thing is, you know, there's been a lot that's been happening these past few weeks, and you know, it seems like cops are losing their damn minds. You got the death of Dante Wright, the officer. And again, I'm just going to go over a brief synopsis because I assume most people are listening have heard what's going on. You have Dante Wright, who the officer mistaked the gun for, said that was their taser.
Stupid.
Like, what? And which is terrible. You had the video of the terrible treatment of an active duty Afro-Hispanic officer, Lieutenant Nazario, and which really hits home with me because I'm Mexican, black and white, so I'm, you know, Afro-Hispanic. And then the Chicago kid who got killed, 13-year-old kid killed.
Latino kid.
Yeah, Latino kid. Adam Toledo. Literally, the video shows his hands up. Shows his hands up. Now, yes, he had. It also shows in the video he had a gun, but he threw it away. He's surrendering, and you just shoot him. 20 seconds. It was like they said, 30, 20 seconds.
Yeah. 15 seconds.
Yeah, just 15 seconds. Shot him right in the chest. And coincidentally, all these officers are white. So take it any way you want it, or white, or maybe I think they tried to say the officer that maced the lieutenant was Hispanic or whatever, like that made much of a difference, but I don't even think he was.
No.
You know, it's really unfortunate. Right now, just a few numbers so people understand. You know, currently right now, and I looked it up, we're sitting at 256 police shootings in 2021. 256 fatal shootings. That's not even counting the mass shootings that are going on right now, which is fucking insane. Mass shootings are becoming the norm. I think wasn't it the other day, a FedEx got shot up. FedEx got shot up. I work at UPS, bro. Like, I really feel for that. And I'm gonna be real. There's 117 employees at UPS right now. 7 of them are women, the rest are men, and there's 3 black guys. So it is very likely if one of these dudes have a bad day, my day might end up worse. Okay?
I don't mean to laugh.
No, I know it's just a reality.
Like,
that's
let's do the numbers.
Well, we laughing because
let's do the numbers.
We're laughing through the pain. This is
right.
this is the reality we live, and I know you're big like me, Danny, in terms of we embrace, like you're biracial like me,
I'm
like
mixed,
he's mixed. You know what I'm saying? And it's a very interesting spot to be in.
Oh yeah, to hear people explain it off.
Yeah.
Explain it away.
Yeah.
I said, let's shoot your cousin or your nephew or your son, and then please call me so I can explain it away. How many times can you explain it off? Or they're only pointing out, colored people being killed. Colored people, what? What you mean? That's what's happening right now. That's not all that they're showing. That is what's happening right now. Like the excuses, I stopped watching the news because I am in the grocery store. I'm talking to my neighbor, and everyone is explaining this away. Oh, well, he should have.
He should have complied, right? That's what I hear all the time.
I said, shoot his ass in the arm.
Right.
Shoot his ass in the leg.
They're like, he should have complied. Like, what?
Complied, right. Can we tell that to your son that you give time out to?
Mm-hmm. And then I saw on the flip side of it, there's all these other crazy videos that have been coming out. Because, again, I'm always at UPS watching shit and looking at shit. Like, there was this white dude, and the video was fucking hilarious at some point. In the truck. Yeah, he was in a truck, like, trying to run cops over. A cop is on the truck saying, stop. This motherfucker took off.
Nobody shoot.
They arrested him.
They arrested him peacefully.
Yes.
Explain, a black man.
They probably took him to Burger King, too.
Right. If he didn't shut that engine, he was going to die anyways. At this point, whatever the excuse, you're pulled over because your tail light's out, like, just scared.
It's such a lose-lose situation because, of course, there's going to be, and Twitter's such a toxic place. That's why I don't be on it too much, because it's such a, like, Instagram and Facebook's lightweight top, but man, Twitter is the worst. And so I'm looking at some of the comments, right, from this man's video, the lieutenants especially, because that hits homes for me, because I have a lot of military family, and to see an active duty officer treat it that way, like, it really struck a chord with me. And he's literally saying, like, he pulled into the gas station because he wanted to be in a lit area. First off, the fact that our natural defense is like, I got to get to where there's light.
Yeah, they about to kill me.
Exactly. And so you're mad at him for that. They come out screaming with their guns up, saying, get out the car. His hands are up, and he's calm as shit. And he's in his uniform, and he's saying, I don't feel, I'm scared to get out my car because you're screaming at me with guns. Mm-hmm. And the guy says, he says a term, and I looked up the history of it. He says, you're about to ride the lightning. So there's some history behind that. Riding the lightning was the term that executioners used to use for the electric chair. That's where that comes from. When they say, you're about to ride the lightning. That's what the executioners in the penitentiary will use for executing their inmates. Because I was like, what the fuck does that mean? And you know me, I'm very analytical. So that's such a lose-lose situation. I mean, what do you do with that? How him getting maced and beaten up and handcuffed is the best case scenario.
Right, they're hoping he fucked up.
Yeah.
And he did everything not to fuck up, so they didn't get to kill his ass that night. They wanted to kill him that night. So all these blue lives matter. All of a sudden, he don't matter.
Right.
You don't hear anybody defending him against the wrong. It's like, here's my thing through all the pandemic, and I think being mixed. One way for me to explain it is right is right, period.
Yep.
And wrong is fucking wrong, period. Like, I don't care if you support this person, this group, this organization. I don't care how you feel about it. Once they cross over and they do some dirty shit or something that is just so blatantly fucking wrong, it's time to stop defending them.
Yep.
You want to keep defending them, then you feel the same way. I cut so many friends off. I mean, lifelong friends. Like, people there for the birth of my kids, for birthdays, for holidays. Like, this is not something that I'm willing to disagree on. Like, if you want to justify this shit, you are one of them. And I don't want to group nobody together because nobody is like the other. But if you're going to stand behind some evil shit, you're just as guilty. And I'm not, my kids aren't coming around you. And I'm going to assume you feel a certain type of way about, if not me, then my brother. And if not my brother, because we're mixed, then my daddy. Like, somewhere in my close family, you feel a certain type of way about us. And I can't deal with that shit. So I cut some really important people off because they didn't see any wrongdoing in murder or, unjust treatment or the lunatic president that we had. If they didn't see no wrongdoing and they were supporting, and I can vote for him and still be your friend, the fuck you can.
Man.
Hell no, you can't.
And for those listening, because obviously you might not know us personally, especially for the people who listen to us out of state, myself, I work in a predominantly white area. I don't live there, but I work there. Danielle, she lives in a predominantly white area. And her kids go to school in those areas. And
I live in Dixon.
Same with Mark. He lives in
Dixon.
So we're not just saying this because we don't have this lived experience. And again, it doesn't mean that we don't have allies and people who understand and fuck with us. We really, really do. And I'm not putting you guys in that group, because I want to get that very clear out there, because some people can misconstrue things we're saying in here. But there are, Shannon Sharp said it, and he's said some dumb things recently, but he did say something that I thought was really cool and profound. He said, if you say I have black friends, you don't have black friends, you just know black people.
Yep.
Okay? If you have to say the term I have black friends, you don't have black friends, because you don't need to vocalize that. If that's your homie, that's your homie. And you can empathize with what the person that you consider a friend is going through.
Yep.
So, it's not like we're going to come up with an answer in 10 minutes in this room, or this podcast is going to give you guys a big epiphany. But please try to understand that, there has to be change. And it's going to come one way or another. My hope is it doesn't come through the way of violence.
The way it's been coming.
Yeah.
But it's like,
it might have to, low key. It might have to.
Yeah.
They're not changing, doing it, being peaceful. Like,
it's like, how peaceful can you be?
Exactly.
Right?
You're cuffed and dying. You're, you are complying and you're being killed. It's like, I'm a woman, so I'm a separate category. But having all males in my life, like, our trigger didn't come from nowhere. My dad got a really short fuse, a really one, but he does right. Like, he don't mess with nobody. He don't do nothing. But if you pull him over and you're pulling some bullshit, my fear during all of this is like, he's going to say something back because he ain't doing shit, but he can't. Whereas, the things that we're comparing it to, if he was white, he could.
Yeah.
And so for any color of anybody to not recognize that, I'm not saying agree or disagree, but to recognize, like, hey, you know what? Like, this is really happening. Like, this is terrible and it's really happening. I don't know what to do or what to say. Stop there. Like, acknowledge that it's happening. Acknowledge it's happening. Acknowledge that it's wrong. And you can stop there. But when you continue on and justify something to me, that's where you lose me.
Yep.
I don't need justification, because you're not brown. You'll never be brown or black. And so for you to justify it from your point of view in your living room with your kids, living this privileged life, because it is privileged at this point, because you can behave differently. You can act a certain way without repercussions that a brown or black person cannot act. You are privileged. So a lot of people don't like to be called privileged out here, or really anywhere. Like, I'm not privileged. I work hard. It has nothing to do with working hard. We all work hard. I hope we all work hard. It has nothing to do with earning your shit. It has to do with the fact that you can behave a certain way and continue living your life, versus somebody else doing the same exact thing as you and jeopardizing losing their life over it from those that are supposed to protect and serve. So please don't justify this shit to me. And if I hurt feelings, I hope that your hurt feelings change your thought process, because somebody needs to hurt your feelings, that we don't need an explanation why it was okay.
Yeah.
Because if somebody kills my son, I don't know how these mothers or families are holding it together. I'm going to burn this shit down. Because I know my son ain't doing shit to deserve it. And these people are like moving with grace and forgiveness, and I don't, as a mother, understand how.
Yeah.
How.
Well, it's good you got it out there, because it needs to be said.
Yeah.
Switching gears, obviously that's a tough topic, but we need to get it out there. So, if that's the part you want to skip through the show, feel free. But we're going to talk about it. But moving on to the NBA, just obviously a lot of crazy good, bad, everything in between stuff's been going on with the league, and of course as fans we love it because like we're all passionate about hooping here, so it's not like we don't watch the NBA. And March Madness was great, and shout out to Stanford women's because they held it down. Baylor, right? Yeah. Baylor, they beat Gonzaga. It was fun. Did y'all see that meme where they said Baylor was that AAU team full of brothers that that Gonzaga couldn't handle? That shit was funny as hell. So shout out to you guys. You saw some amazing college basketball because I'm a fan. But circling back to the NBA, definitely wanted to talk about Kevin Durant and his attacks on the media. Just you guys can feel free, obviously, jump in as always. My take on it is I don't think he's wrong in terms of defending himself. I know some people look at it like, oh, he's so mentally weak. Jordan wouldn't do that. Kobe wouldn't do it. It's like, okay, yeah, that's true. But he's the type of dude that can be on Twitter for 7 hours and still drop 35 on your head. So if it works for him, who gives a shit? But is he wrong inherently for calling out some of the shit he sees? No, I don't think he's wrong, because as a man, and I know for most people who know me and listeners who know me, I'm very much a proponent of that. Hey, if you got a problem with me, let's talk face to face. Hey, if you got an issue with me, let's handle it right here on the spot. If you want to talk about me on a public platform, I'll tackle you with it on a public platform. Like, I ain't got no issue with it. What do you guys think?
I think it's a personality thing. I feel like either way, like, he's not wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like for anybody to reach out or if somebody's talking shit to him and respond. But of course, at the end of the day, then you can look at it from the other side of just being above it, being a professional athlete. You know what I'm saying? So I said, like, it's a personality thing. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say that he's sensitive. Like I said, like, some people are just like, oh, hell no, like, you gonna say this about me over Twitter or over Instagram, knowing that you won't say this to my face. And so him, like the whole him and Michael Rappaport thing.
Yeah,
that was kind of crazy.
And then Shannon Sharp, obviously, he's been getting into it with him recently.
Yeah. So that was, I mean, for Rappaport to kind of show everybody the DMs.
Yeah, that was so petty.
That was kind of stupid.
That was so petty and soft to me.
that was he was being a bitch.
And of course they're like, oh, well, he brought my wife into it. I'm like, okay, fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I get it, but still don't need to handle it. This is the question. I think I'm asking the question that some people think and just won't say, or maybe they say it on their own shit. But do y'all think Kevin Durant can fight? I really wonder. I don't know. He doesn't look like a fighter's frame to me, but because I'm gonna be real. Usually the most tallest guys, especially in it's in boxing, and I just noticed because I used to box. So shorter fighters are typically better fighters because they have more control of their body. Their body is just less awkward. The nervous system smaller. They usually can fight better overall. Could you imagine 7 foot skinny Kevin Durant really squaring up with, like, I don't know, man. I don't know if he got hands or not. I don't know. What you think? You think he can fight?
I don't know, man. I don't think so, but I mean, he got that reach. I don't know.
He got the reach. If he catches you, he don't need to know how to fight if he catches you first.
But do you think there's a lot of power behind that punch?
I don't know.
See, exactly.
I don't know. It depends on what's in you, though. Because,
true.
I mean, my brother's tall. People test him all the time because he's team light skin.
But I've met your brother. He's like, we're around the same height. I want to say he's like an inch or two taller than me. But, like, and we're kind of that same thinner athletic frame. But Kevin Durant's like, he's like, I feel like if he
he's like 6'11" featherweight.
Exactly. So I don't know how much power is behind that punch, but hey, no knock on the man. I'm not saying you can't fight, KD. I'm just saying, dude, one day you might have to knock somebody out just to get that point across. Sometimes a good ass whooping gets the point across. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Look, I can speak from experience.
Yes.
So him responding. Can I just do like a grand overview of that?
Sure.
People forget they're human. I don't care how much money they're getting paid. Like, how much disrespect do you think a grown-ass man is going to take before he responds? Like, is he a grown-ass man to just take it all in? I mean, if he's on these platforms on a regular basis, which, I mean, he's younger. He's not young, but these are our times. So we're on here. And so they're human.
Yes.
I mean, human instinct. He's a competitor. He's all these things that make him as a male more aggressive. So, of course he's going to respond.
And he's allowed to. I'm a big proponent of the First Amendment. Literally, I'm using it right now to create this podcast. I don't think he's wrong for us talking back to these guys and kind of checking them. Me personally, I wanted to go to the other big guy on the Brooklyn Nets, and just mainly because it was very interesting to me. Because not only I kind of observed from the outside. So Kyrie Irving. Obviously, in the game against the Lakers, he got kicked out because Schroeder called him nigga, and he obviously took it a whole nother way. I'll just say this quickly. I don't have a problem with the word nigga, but I grew up with it. I understand if one of my friends do, then I'll respect that fact. But do I overall think, like, it's something we shouldn't say and it should be out of our culture? No, I don't. I'm sorry. I just don't. I grew up in it. So sometimes nigga describes some of my friends very well. Just be honest with you. I have some niggas who are friends. I'm just being honest with you. So, you know, this is my interesting take with Kyrie, though. When you sign a contract, and again, I'm not discrediting what he goes through or any NBA player goes through, but when you do sign a contract, you are signing an obligation. You are, and I'm looking at it from the perspective of my brother and Marshawn, my cousin. Like, if you sign that contract, you are saying I'm going to get paid X amount of money to fulfill X amount of games. Mm-hmm. And that's just the base. I mean, let's take all the feelings and who's involved in that. If I sign a contract and someone says I'm going to pay you X amount of money for this service, should I have my money taken away if I'm not fulfilling that service? Mm. You know, that's how I kind of look at Kyrie as an interesting case study. I don't think he's wrong for everything he's doing. Yeah. If he needs mental time away from the game, he needs mental time away from the game. But it does get to a with this day and age, and especially I watched a YouTuber that actually compared it. I think it was Rusty Buckets. He compared the 1990s and the 2000s to to now the 2020s and whatnot. Mm-hmm. This is the most era in basketball, at least the last 5 years, where you have players missing games. Mm-hmm. The load management thing, my body's too tired, the injury thing. This is the most we've had where players are missing games. Do you think players should lose money for losing games? Because technically they're not fulfilling their contract. You know what I'm saying? Because you do have to look at it from the view of the spectator. Yeah. Because ultimately they're the ones, right, that fund all this.
For sure have shown up to a game and the star's not playing because he don't feel like it. But that's the time of our era right now. Like, people are gonna take advantage. We're becoming more informed on what you can and can't do. Everyone else is doing it. You know, like, we're that generation where everyone else is doing it. Yeah. This is happening. Well, why not? But as a fan and a person that loves the game, yes, I think that if you're abusing it, mm-hmm. and, people are paying good money, buying tickets in advance to come and see you play, and you're going to sit out, you should lose money.
Especially in a time of COVID, when we know this is the most unemployed the country has ever been in history. Like, this is past the Depression, mm-hmm. so people understand. The people in this room are lucky enough to have an income, be able to take care of our families and do that. There are a lot more people out there that don't even have that, and if someone, and that blue collar person is spending their hard earned money to come watch you play, and even now that they're limiting the fans, right? Or even paying for cable, paying for Hulu Sports, ESPN, like whatever, they're financing you to watch you play, and you just say, I don't feel like it.
You don't feel like that paycheck then. That paycheck shouldn't come to you because, I don't think NBA's elite. You're getting millions of dollars to play. That's the key word, to play. So you're playing for millions of dollars. If you don't feel like playing, but you got to cough up some of that money. For sure. And when you feel like playing again, get your money. Yeah. But I don't think there should be any sick days. Like, if you're not on the injured list, you're not, recovering, you're not any of those things, and you're not playing, you don't get sick days. Yeah. I don't agree with that.
Yeah. What about you, Mark? Any take on it?
No, yeah. Like, I'm with Danny. Like, unless you're injured, unless you're fined or suspended, you know what I'm saying? Like, or okay, if the coach is just not playing you, can't just be like, I'm not showing up without giving a reason. Just because, again, like, you know, I know Kyrie growing up, that was his dream to play in the NBA.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what kind of example are you showing to these other kids? You know what I'm saying? Like, again, like I know it's a different generation. We don't know what he's going through per se, but then you gotta take some money away from him. Like, you gotta, you know what I'm saying, deduct out of his pay. I know it ain't gonna hurt him, but still, like, to show, you know what I'm saying, for the next generation that you can't just leave a job.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
There's consequence. You know, we all have consequences. I don't feel like working. I don't get a paycheck.
Yeah.
Why should it be any different? If anything, they should need to work harder. I mean, millions to play, millions
to play a game.
You gotta suck that shit up, mental or not. Mental or not, you need to suck that shit up and play. I'm sorry.
I wanted to talk about the reffing in the NBA because I watched this one YouTuber. I know I talk about YouTubers all, but I watch a lot of fucking YouTubers. This one guy talked about, and he showed historical, statistical analytics. Reffing has always been bad in the NBA. Actually, reffing is the worst professional officiated sport in all of professional sports. NBA is the worst ref one. Statistically, worse than football, worse than soccer, and FIBA is corrupt as fuck. But, like, we're worse than them. And, again, it becomes down to like what you were talking about with emotions, right? The refs wanting to, like, I guess, feel a part of the game and all this stuff. And I don't know, man. I feel, and just, again, watching it and watching how bad it's been this year, it's going to get to the point where a player's going to put hands on a ref. It really is.
I'm
and
just
that's
glad my brother retired.
Yeah, right.
I'm so glad he done paid so many fines, but the ref is next on his list. He done knocked a few coaches over.
Right.
He, fans. A ref was next.
Yeah, so. because it's even worse, I want to say now, because you have so limited fans and everything, like, you really can hear everything now. Sure. You know what I mean? And some of these officials are so sensitive, and it's like I feel like they pick officials who never actually played basketball. It'd be like some 5'3" white dude. I'm like, why is he official? Like,
just angry as
yeah,
shit.
like it's not fair, black man. I hate you, tech. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's where it feels like, regardless if you and even the brothers out there, some of them you could tell they probably got cut from every JC they tried
right.
at. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not about you. You know what I mean? I mean, I think I've seen, what was the one? They kicked Dwight Howard out for bumping into
Montrezl Harrell.
What?
Yeah,
come on, let that go.
Abuse of authority. You know, it's
and
camera time. That's space time.
And the cold part is refs don't get fined. Refs don't. No, refs get no penalties. I'm telling y'all, I research this crazy shit all the time for this show. And no, refs don't get any penalties.
That makes sense, though, because they be wilding. Like,
you start cutting their fucking checks.
Right.
I guarantee some of these are
they don't let them play more.
Yeah, they're like, oh, no, fuck that, I'm letting them play. Or, I'm telling you, one of these players, it's going to take one, it's going to be one. It's going to be one that's going to just say, I give no fucks. It's going to knock one of these dudes out. Because keep in mind, and this is what you people, if you haven't been to NBA games, you need to understand. These are very big, athletic people. They are not normal size people. I know you guys see Steph Curry and like, oh, he's tiny, Steph Curry. Steph Curry's 6'3".
6'3".
He's 6'3". He's not tiny. You know what I mean? Klay Thompson is not small. He's 6'8". Kobe, God rest his soul, is 6'7". Like, please try to understand. These are not average size people.
Oh, these are freaks of nature.
And they're dealing with average size referees. If they hit one of these dudes, I feel like they show the most restraint ever because they know they like, I will kill this guy.
Yeah.
But refs, please try to do better in the league. If this ever got to somebody, please try to hear me out and do better.
It's ego. At the end of the day, it's an ego thing for sure. And especially when you have a whistle, like, that's power.
Yeah.
So of course, like, I mean, athletes have egos too, but you can control a game.
You can control a game.
Yeah.
So we got it in AAU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, bro, we shouldn't even notice you. Like,
Right.
call the game.
Yeah.
We are not here for you.
Yeah.
I got a tech in the crowd. That was the funniest shit. I said, wait, who does that go to? Because I'm not on the team.
I'd be fair. That's something you and Jody got in common. She did that for me too. And I know y'all not necessarily the biggest fans of each other, but y'all got that in common.
No, just recently I became not really a fan of her recently.
Okay.
It was all love until I realized that it wasn't mutual no more.
Who's Jody? I don't know who Jody.
One of his parents. It's
one
one of
of
his
my
parents.
parents.
Now.
Jaden's
Started
mom,
off
yeah.
on our team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Held my babies as
Yeah,
newborns. Sat together. Traveled together. Cool.
Okay.
On your team. Cool on your team.
Yeah.
I hope one day you guys circle back and are cool, but if not, I totally get
You
it.
know, I'm good either way. Like
Oh, no.
I don't sweat people. I'm not tripping. I'm leaving it at that.
So, well, then I want to talk about, we're in a really interesting time right now. AAU and high school are at the same time right now. And I always alluded to it the previous shows, if you guys are listening. There was always going to be a tug of war at some point, and some high school coaches are going to get down with it, some are don't. Just a little quick things out there for those who are listening, because I know some people tell me they learn a lot from my show, so let me give you guys a quick update. D1s and D2s are kind of restricted right now because of their live periods and things like that, but they are still happening. Let me make that very clear. D2 kind of has free range to evaluate, but they don't have time to recruit. D1s kind of actively can't recruit. They can evaluate, which means they can watch Baller TV and watch your kid hoop, but they can't go to the games and like actively come up to your kid and recruit. You know, if they got caught up, that would be really detrimental to them. Division 3s, NAIAs, and JUCOs, they can do whatever the fuck they want. They can talk to your kid, they can recruit your kid, they can call them right now. So just that's more information for you parents who are trying to figure out and maneuver, like, how is this all happening? The live periods are still in effect. Most of them will be happening, what's the month after June? July. They'll be in July, right? That'll be when the live periods are really kicking into effect. I believe most high school basketball will be done by June, I want to say, if not the next month, the end of next month, most of it. Some teams are doing 10 games, some are doing 15. I know the coach at Oakmont, he's trying to do 30. He's trying to do 30 games in 2 months.
That's burnout.
That is insane to me. And the cool part is there are still some active live period stuff going on. I'm taking my high school team down to Oakland, and I have 9 colleges coming to look at my kids play. Shout out to you coaches who've been talking to me, and I have a great relationship with UC Santa Cruz, Cal State East Bay, Holy Names, Menlo, Cal Maritime, Contra Costa, like I can go on. They're all coming to watch my boys play. However, some of the high schools have games. And that's tough because I am kind of having to tell my kids, look, you got to make a choice. You have these 9 colleges coming ready to watch you play. They're not coming to fucking, you know, Rockland High to watch you. They're not coming to Wood Creek. They're not coming to Antelope. They're not coming. They're going to be here at Soldier Town in Oakland on Saturday to watch the U play.
Yeah.
If your high school game is at 2 o'clock and this AU game is at 2 o'clock, you got a choice. I'm not going to tell you which one to choose, but you got to decide. You know, I was just curious your guys' thoughts on all that.
I'm with you, bro. I'm actually going through some drama right now. Like I said, I just started doing the AAU thing, and I told you we're going to Arizona for the West Coast Elite spring little showcase 2030.
Shout out to Ryan Silver and Jake for West Coast Elite, because they do a great job. West Coast Elite is the biggest program in California. Just throwing that out there.
And so I already got some of my kids telling me right now that, yo, coach, and I'm not going to say the high schools, but, you know, hey, coach, my coach is saying that I can't play if I go. Or, hey, coach, I can't, I'm going to have to miss like 2 weeks or a week if I leave out of state or whatever. And then, so of course, with me, like I said, like I'm new to this, you know, because I've been doing the training thing. And so in my mind, just like what you said, nobody, and you know some of my top guys who are striving to get scholarships, who are killing. Ain't nobody coming to Vacaville to recruit. Ain't nobody coming to Dixon to recruit. So it's like we are out here traveling, trying to play the best teams, and your high school coach is giving you ultimatums where, wait a minute, like, are you, because I know some of these high school coaches that I know that are with my players, you know what I'm saying, whether they hear me or not, and they know who they are, it's like, what have you been doing for my guys? Where at the end of the day, like I said, I'm not even a high school coach, and I'm not necessarily a coach because I'm just doing it because of the development of my players, but it's like I've been putting in work to try to get these kids looked at, get the exposure, you know what I'm saying? I'm starting to build connections now because I'm out here, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, how are you telling, like, I hate it when one of my kids or a couple of my kids are like, yo, coach, like, I can't, because, and I kind of want to be like, yo, you should play with me. So actually, that's
right, but you don't.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
What should I say? Like, do I
you
do
gotta
that?
leave it.
Like,
my suggestion,
know,
you just leave it on them, and you gotta let them decide.
Yeah,
you really do, because you don't want to influence a kid either way, and it's tough. Because in your mind, you want to say like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? You're gonna play this local ass tournament for. It's a 10-game season. Who gives a shit? Like, you know what I'm saying?
It doesn't even count. It don't count. Best interest should be in mind. Like, the kids shouldn't have to choose. So these coaches need to understand how much these boys, especially the older ones, have missed out on opportunity.
Yes.
And the fact that they currently can't give them that opportunity. They can't do it. Best interest or not. Like, these high school coaches can't do that right now. So, I mean, to me, it comes down to best interest. Of course, the coach don't want to lose by having their players gone, but don't you want your players to go to the next level?
Seniors,
because I mean, all bullshit aside, it's a reflection of you of where your players end up.
Yep.
So if you're his coach, you should want him to end up somewhere great, or it's just about you and it's just at the local level. So I'm struggling, and I'll say the high school's name. I'm struggling with Wood Creek right now. Their whole program. I mean, growing up in basketball, and you guys know how I feel about the best are your competitors. Like, the best people should be on the court.
Yeah.
They're running some bullshit over there, and I will call them all the way out. The coach knows how I feel. I know as a mother, I don't need to go there, but as a lover of the game and someone that has seen people go on to do great things, they want some straight bullshit. Like, and I don't care who feels a certain type of way about it, because deep down, they know they're on some bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, so feel how you want to, Wood Creek.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
You heard her, man. You heard it. No, it's true. It's true, man. It's one of those things you really gotta. Parents, my advice to you. Kids, my advice to you. You really gotta make some tough choices. And I wish I could tell you which is best. You really just got to judge your scenario and where you're at. And most, I would like to say, the varsity coaches that understand the game, that understand what's best for their kid, not their program, they'll be okay. They'll be fine. The ones who don't, you're in a tough spot, and it sucks. I'm not saying it's easy. All I can do is, as the AAU director, coach on my side, is say, look, this is the opportunity. If I got 6 guys going, guess what? Those 6 guys get looked at by the colleges. That's all I can. That's all I can do. That's all I can do. You know, and that's fine with me. Like, you know, because it's not about the win or loss. The coaches just want to see my kids because they trust my judgment. They're like, hey, you've sent us good kids in the past. We want to see what you got. You know what I mean? And so, you know, my advice, parents, kids, again, do what's best for you. And it might piss your varsity coach off. Varsity coaches, sorry, not discrediting what you do, but it's a weird time, and you got to adjust just like we got to adjust.
Right.
It is what it is. I wanted to talk to you about that, Mark, about your traveling this weekend. Is this first
It'll be the first time. We've been doing a lot of local stuff.
Yeah,
you know
I
what
know.
I'm saying?
You guys excited? I mean, you
I'm excited just because, like I said,
me and Danny are veterans in this shit. So.
Yeah,
I miss it. I miss travel. I do. I miss travel.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, no, have fun with it, man. You know, expect the unexpected, and something's always gonna go wrong. Some kid's gonna fucking forget his shoes or his socks or his jersey or some dumb shit. But it really is a fun experience, man.
I mean, like I said, for me, again, like the whole reason why. I don't know if we were going to talk about the whole training thing, but
we are. Oh, absolutely.
I kind of want to, like, so where I come from, like, why I started doing the AAU thing again. Like, I'm not trying to build GGT into like the next big AAU program. For me, like, I'm 110% about skill development and mental performance. So what I've been doing, why I did it, because of course I didn't know that we were going to have high school basketball.
Right.
So that was one of the reasons why.
Neither.
Yeah, the kids that I work with, that I train with, that was my avenue. Like the shit that we work on in the lab, I am going to put you in those positions when we play it. Because we know the politics and the favoritism. When they go to I'm training a kid how to work on their game, knowing that, okay, at your high school, they're going to throw you in the post. But at the next level, you're going to become a wing.
Yes.
You know, we work on those things. So in my part, doing the AAU stuff, us going to West Coast Elite thing, like, there's going to be some killers out there. Like, we're not just playing at hardwood no more. We're not playing at courtside. So for me, it's separating the real ones that if we gonna go out here, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to put you in position, you know what I'm saying, y'all got green light, we going all the stuff that we've been working on, everything like that, perform. And so for me, like, I'm excited, and I know that the kids that are going to be coming with us on April 23rd, 25th, this is their time to shine, you know what I'm saying? And so again, like I said, with everything that's going on with high school and everything like that, I'm hoping that I will have the kids that, like what you were saying, there are some kids that I know that, yes, if they're going to come, they're going to come. And I know the parents are going to pay for the flights and even the fees. But at the end of the day, I'm going to play the kids that I know that have been putting in the work, who actually have a chance. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I'm at right now. But yeah, I'm excited for Arizona. Low key, get a little vacation from the family and stuff like that too. You know,
that's always the fun side of it. Yeah. So let's go into respectfully disrespectful. Before we talk about the training aspect, I wanted to give one thing clear, and this is just kind of me on a sidebar. Some people might think, I guess because of my episode, Dwayne, that I got some type of issue with Coach French or Whitney or, varsity coaches. Like, I don't have any issues with Coach French. Me and him are really good. Like, we're solid. Like, I left Whitney on overall good terms. I didn't want to leave, but I left on good terms. The reason I had to leave is because of the pressure from all the other coaches bitching about me being at Whitney. So let me make that very clear. Me and Coach French, the varsity coach, are solid. We're good. Like, I respect the fuck out of that man. He respects out of me. I learned a lot. It's just I chose, because I'm only the JV coach, I'm not going to put added stress on myself. I got the added stress of running YBA, running the elite program, maintaining this gym, being the director, because Ken G is all the way fucking out. He's a real estate agent now. So, it's like I didn't need the added pressure of being a JV coach at Whitney and having 7 different coaches report me to the CIF because somehow I'm influencing kids to go to Whitney. I don't tell kids where to fucking go to high school. I don't. Yeah, that was the big thing I was dealing with. I don't care where kids go to high school. Like, if they go to Whitney, great. If they don't, great. I'm still going to coach them in AAU. Like, Taylor at Rockland High, congratulate. Like, you should be happy. The last 3 years, legitimately, all your best players have been coached by me. Mm-hmm. So while you hate me so much at Rockland High, I've produced, or at least influence, some of your best athletes at your school. Shit, you mentioned Wood Creek, Hibbs at Wood Creek. Last year at the motherfucking, his starting 7 were all kids I coach. Karsten Emmert, LJ, Les Brunner, Dane Johnson, who was the MVP of their league, Kobe Winscott. Like, I can go on and on. I literally coach your best kids. And coached them since 4th grade and trained them since 4th grade. So you all should be thanking me, you assholes, like, if you want to be honest. So I just want to get that straight. Me and Coach French are cool. Me and Whitney are cool. Turn the page, move on. I'm not coaching high school this year. I'm kind of sitting back, reevaluating. I am getting recruited by a lot of different high schools that want me to coach freshman, JV, whatever. But I don't influence shit. So I just want to get that shit out there so we can move on from that. Now, what I did want to talk about was you and the training thing. You said you wanted to talk about trainers, and I think that's a pretty interesting topic, especially because me and Mark are both trainers. Mm-hmm. And you know as well as I do, this training world, there's the AAU basketball world, and then there's the training world, which is totally super separate, different and competitive in itself.
Totally separate.
So it's like, I'm curious your thoughts and your voice on that.
Well, so my man's a trainer too. So I'm finally getting that perspective on it as well. Besides being a parent and, directing our club. But really, all my thoughts and feelings, they're my thoughts and feelings, but they're all based off of what I told you guys I think a player should be. Mm-hmm. So I think training should be a reward. I don't think it should be something that you send your kid to just to send him to it, or you want him to be a good player. Like, training is for people that are doing it on their own. Take their game to the next level by rewarding them with a trainer to sharpen their skills, to, elevate their game. I see a lot of parents drop their kids off that can't dribble, can't shoot, can't defend. But here you are weeks, months, years on end with a trainer, having fun, which is great. Have fun. I just feel a certain type of way. So as far as me and my kids go, Jaden hasn't had a trainer because he's gone through a phase where he wasn't putting the effort in. So quarantine changed our lives. Single mom, 4 boys. I was working 3 jobs. I was working at UPS. I was working at a steakhouse. I'm a realtor. I was making shit work. So quarantine happens, everything shuts
Too
down.
big, too black.
That's basically what it was.
Right, okay, so quarantine happens, and he still wants these things from me, and I'm like, son, I'm busting my ass. The effort ain't there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No, it ain't happening. Here's my move on your game from here on out. You're not a baby no more. I had this talk with him. You're 15. Personally, from what I see, you don't want it the way that you should want it. And I know this is like personal and not share, but maybe it'll help another parent, another kid. I said, you don't have the hunger that matches what your dreams are. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're not a baby no more. I'm not going to sugarcoat the shit no more. Either you want it and you're going to go after it yourself, or you're not going to get it. I'm not going to tell you that you have practice. I'm not going to tell you that you need to go work on your game. I'm not going to tell you shit no more. I'm not signing you up for shit. I'm not introducing you to shit. That's all on you. You're damn near grown. You got a couple years left at my house. If you're not on it on your own, I can't help you no more. And shit, I'll be damned. That little boy started waking up early in the morning, hitting the gym in the morning. Eating more. He's skinny as hell. eating more, eating stuff he doesn't like, doing what he's not, doing things that he's supposed to do, and telling me, Mom, I'll be back.
Nice.
Mom, I'm going to the gym. Mom, I'm going to shoot now. Mom, I'm going to train now. Mom, I'm hitting the field. So he got to do football for the first time. I'm like, if the dedication's there, like, football's not safe if you're not on your shit.
Yes.
Basketball, you might get away with slipping. Football, I'm sorry, no.
Yeah.
So you either get on your game or you don't. And so his sophomore year this year was his first time playing football. And they pulled him up to varsity.
Hey.
Yeah, I
And I'm
saw
like,
from your
it's-
social media, it looked like he was doing
Yeah,
well.
I'm like, it's in our genes, but like the drive, like I can't give you my fire. Like Coach Dwayne is like, damn, I wish Jaden had your fire. Like, you act like you want to get on the court. I'm like, shit, if I could, I would. Like, I can't give you my fire, son. Like, I have tried to give you my fire, and like, I know you love the game, but like, if you're not hungry for it, we'll find something else to do.
Absolutely.
Forget basketball. Forget it all. Like, if you don't want it, I don't want it no more either. And a light went on. Like, she really ain't fucking with me. I'm like, no, I'm really not fucking with you. If you're not, I'm not. And I'm good with it. I love you. I'm good with it. Let's pursue something else.
I think that speaks to, again, like we talked about before the show, the business model of trainers, though, right? Like, if you're, and it's tough because you do gotta find a balance, especially if you're a trainer who has your own facility or whatnot. Where I would say like Mark benefits is he uses outdoors a lot. He uses the park a lot and has used it since COVID. So he can really find the kids who are really, really passionate about it, right? If you are kind of like in the boat that I'm in, well, to be fair, I want to say I am and I'm not, because training doesn't keep the lights on here. It's the AAU, right? It's the AAU side that keeps the lights on here. But to be fair, we do have like a introductory general training program for kind of like,
fine.
The beginner kids. But, if you're a trainer out there, you gotta find that balance between the kids that are passionate, right? And then obviously getting your price point, right? Making your money, because you do got to make a living. You know what I'm saying? So, my advice to you guys is know who you are, know your end game, know your goal, and go after it. Mark has a very clear goal for his boys, and I think that's what helps guide him. You know what I'm saying? For me, I call it purpose, right? Purpose and goal. The goal is to win. The purpose is to get better, right?
Yeah.
The purpose is to grow, right?
Growth.
You know what I mean? So it really comes down to, you got to figure out your purpose and your goal. once you figure that out, life gets a little easier. The last thing I wanted to talk about was circuits are opening back up, like the EYBL circuit. I think the Adidas circuit, they're trying to open back up and do their own things. I kind of think COVID has shown, and I think I talked about it I talked about it with Dwayne when he was here. I think the shutdown kind of showed the circuits aren't necessarily the big deal, you know what I mean, anymore, because coaches at this point are kind of like, shit, we'll go to any tournament at this point because we don't, you know, I mean, like, yeah, the EYBL stuff's great, but who gives a shit? You're playing in Phoenix just like they're playing in Phoenix.
Right.
Like, it doesn't, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter because the circuit was unique because it gave you these unique tournaments that only they could go to, right?
Right. Well,
but when everything shut down, we're all in the same place now.
yeah, I think it leads back to the all-inclusiveness again, where everybody gets to play.
Right.
So, you know, everybody is creating their own stuff, and it's not bad. You know, like, they're legit. We're there, you know. They're legit tournaments, but yeah, so the bigger names like Adidas, like, that's what I grew up watching. That's all I knew. So this was all it was an adjustment for me to take the kids to things that weren't on that level.
Right.
I had to, you know, people had to explain it to me like it's not that serious. I'm like, but it is. Yeah. But okay, I understand why you're saying that. Like, the way that things are set up and the way that we move now, like, it's
competitive rec.
It's competitive. It's good enough. But I would like to get back to that level. I'm not going to lie. Like, I would like to have my high school boys. I would like to have a team or two that are solid, that are in the Adidas Cup. You know, we're down at Mamba Academy. We're competing against the best of the best. And I think SAC has a lot of, SAC and the Bay, like, combined, we have some really good athletes.
I think Northern California is looking really good this year. We got
some really good athletes. And so to put a team together of some dogs from here to represent Northern Cali, like, we have it. So I want it.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, it's not that big of a deal. You can get some good competition other places, but I want in. That's my goal.
Nice.
My goal is to have a team on that level.
All right. It's dope. Well, I want to move into... Okay, so this is not a good fit. Got to talk a little bit. Give me a minute or two and let's talk about it. So today on my 6th grade elite team, had a parent had his kid quit because he said I was an aggressive coach. You knew I was a fucking aggressive coach when you first saw me. Why you acting like this shit brand new? Everybody know Chris Collins, YBA, is one of the most aggressive, loudest motherfuckers in the gym. Ain't no clue to that. Ain't no doubt to that. So sit here and stop acting like it's different. The cold part is the kid said he wanted to stay. He said it to you in your face and said, I want to stay. I want to stick with this team. I want to see where it goes and grows. But because your inhibitions were felt some type of way, because I was lighting him up, because I'm pushing him, because he's a tiny guard, and tiny guards need the most pushing because there's fucking 90,000 of them out there trying out for one spot, you had a bad feel of it. If it's not a good fit, that's on you. That's on you as a parent. But stop letting your kids run away from adversity. Adversity is part of the biggest things and the biggest growth in not only basketball, but life. You're always going to deal with adversity. You're always going to have things against you. I was born black. Guess what? That means I'm 10 steps behind my Caucasian peers. I don't bitch about it. I get the shit done. Just because I'm giving some insight to your player and you don't like the way or the delivery of it, get over it. Your son was fine, so move on from that shit. It might not be a good fit for you, but it's a good fit for him. Again, I am who I am. I don't sugarcoat it. I don't fade away from it. I don't shy away from it. I am who I am, and that's always going to be the aggressive coach from West Oakland, California, Coach Chris Collins. You either like it or it's not a good fit.
Drop the mic.
Just had to say that point.
Right. Okay.
I always had to say that point, man. Some of these parents sometimes need to remember who the hell I am, right? So, with that being said, we had a great show. Miss Barnes, I'm glad you came on.
Me too.
No, it was great having you. I really think having your insight and your side of things was really cool to see, not only as a female director, a mother, entrepreneur, and someone who works hard, and someone who's seen the progression of your brothers and everything they've done. So I want you to know I really, really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to be on the show.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I'm glad I did.
Thank you.
Glad I did.
Mark, you got anything to say?
No, like I said, just listening to her, she's a real student of the game. I'm already motivated to get back to my players and kind of share some knowledge. So it was nice having you on the show.
Thank you.
All right, man. Definitely tell your son Jaden I said what's up. Obviously, like I said, I've trained with him a little bit, so I hope he's doing well. For you guys listening again, please feel free to hit that like button, hit that follow button. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out, helps with the algorithm as well. Again, we're just trying to grow this little platform little by little. We just want to give a voice for the grassroots all the way to the top. One small click for you is a big help for us. We really appreciate those who have been following, who have been supporting, because I know me, Ty, and Mark have been getting a great amount of feedback, and we really appreciate it. I'm hopefully going to have 2 really great guests for you the next couple of weeks. Next week might be Coach French from Whitney. He'd be a varsity coach that's actually going to sit down on the couch and talk about his side of things. And the one after that, if you guys have watched Last Chance U, yes, basketball and Last Chance U, the kid that goes to Sac State, Deshaun, he said he's willing to do my show.
Oh, cool.
So I got to go through, he told me we got to go through some legal people or whatever to talk about it, but he said he's willing to do it. Deshaun, I really appreciate that. Obviously, his perspective and watching his fame blow up from that Netflix show is freaking crazy, right? So, no, that'd be really cool. But thank you guys again who are listening. Danielle, thank you again for being on the show. Really appreciate you. And Mark, it's good to see you, brother.
Yeah, man, it's been a minute.
With the military haircut, really.
I got the brush. The waves are gonna be coming in soon, so be ready.
I appreciate that. Ty, again, thank you, brother, for always everything that you do. Sitting. It's getting hot in this room again, so thank you for sitting in this hot, stuffy room with us. But thank you for those guys who's listening, and we are out.